Have you ever heard the saying, "The greatest victory is the one that requires no battle"? It sounds like something from an ancient sage, right? Well, it's a core philosophy of one of the most famous martial artists of all time, Bruce Lee. We all know him for his lightning-fast kicks, his one-inch punch, and his iconic yells. But beyond the explosive on-screen action was a deep thinker, a philosopher who understood that true strength wasn't just about winning fights. It was about having the wisdom and control to avoid them altogether. Today, we're going to dive deep into this fascinating aspect of Bruce Lee's life, exploring a story that perfectly illustrates this powerful idea. It's a story that reveals the man behind the legend and offers a lesson we can all apply in our own lives. So, get ready to see a different side of the dragon. The story takes place in the late 1960s, a time when Bruce Lee was making a name for himself in Hollywood, but was also a revered figure in the martial arts world. His school, the Junfan Gung Fu Institute, was a place where he taught his evolving philosophy of Jeet Kune, the way of the intercepting fist. But with fame and respect came challenges. Many traditional martial artists felt threatened by his progressive ideas. Bruce was breaking down the rigid walls between different styles, arguing that a fighter should absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is specifically their own. This was revolutionary, and not everyone liked it. One day, a well-known martial arts master from a traditional school showed up unannounced at Bruce's institute in Oakland. This wasn't a friendly visit. He was there to issue a formal challenge. In the martial arts world back then, this was serious business. It was a duel to defend one's honor and the credibility of one's style. The challenger was older, highly respected, and represented the very establishment that Bruce was questioning. He strode into the school with an air of absolute confidence, his students trailing behind him, ready to witness what they believed would be their master's easy victory. The atmosphere in the dojo became thick with tension. Bruce's own students, including his close friends like Taiki Kimura, immediately tensed up, ready to defend their teacher. A physical confrontation seemed inevitable. The challenger, with a stern face, declared his purpose loudly for everyone to hear. He criticized Bruce's methods as undisciplined, a hodgepodge of techniques without a true foundation. He claimed that Jeet Kune was not a legitimate martial art, and that Bruce was misleading his students. Then came the challenge, a one-on-one fight, right there and then, to prove whose art was superior. Bruce's students looked at him, expecting him to accept instantly. This was Bruce Lee, after all, the man who seemed unbeatable. They had seen his incredible speed and power firsthand. For them, there was no doubt who would win. A fight would be a chance to publicly humiliate this traditionalist and prove the effectiveness of Jeet Kune once and for all. It was a moment of high drama, but Bruce didn't react the way everyone expected. He didn't puff out his chest or accept the challenge with a fiery declaration. Instead, he remained calm. He listened patiently to the master's entire tirade without interruption. When the man finished, Bruce simply smiled. A calm, disarming smile. He walked over, not in a fighting stance, but with open, relaxed body language. He looked the master in the eye and said something that stunned everyone in the room. He acknowledged the master's skill and reputation. He spoke of his deep respect for the traditions the man represented, even if his own path was different. He didn't argue or counter-criticize. He simply validated the man's feelings and his position in the martial arts community. Then, Bruce did something even more unexpected. He invited the challenger and his students to have tea. Tea, in the middle of what was supposed to be a duel. The challenger was taken aback. This wasn't part of the script he had in his head. He had come for a fight, for a clash of strength and will, but was instead being offered a gesture of peace and hospitality. Bruce led the man to a small table at the side of the dojo. He prepared the tea himself, with a quiet focus and grace that was as mesmerizing as his martial arts movements. As he poured the tea, he began to talk. Not about fighting, but about philosophy. He shared his ideas on the purpose of martial arts not as a tool for destruction, but as a vehicle for self-discovery and personal growth. He explained that Jeet Kune wasn't about proving one style was better than another, but about finding the most direct and honest expression of oneself. He used the famous metaphor of water. "Be like water, my friend," he would often say. Water can flow, or it can crash. It's formless, shapeless. It can fit into any container, yet it has the power to cut through the hardest rock. He explained that a true martial artist should be like water, adaptable and fluid, not rigid and confrontational. A rigid tree is easily broken by the wind, but the flexible bamboo bends and survives. He wasn't lecturing the man. He was sharing his heart, his passion. He was treating him not as an enemy, but as a fellow traveler on the path of martial arts, even if they were walking on different trails. The challenger, who had arrived full of anger and pride, found himself listening intently. The aggression began to melt away, replaced by a grudging respect, and then genuine curiosity. As they sat there, sipping tea, the atmosphere in the room transformed completely. The tension was gone. The students from both sides, who had been ready to watch a brutal fight, were now watching a profound exchange of ideas. The master began to ask questions, not to challenge, but to understand. He and Bruce discussed theories of movement, the psychology of combat, and the spiritual dimensions of their craft. They found common ground. They discovered that despite their different approaches, they shared a fundamental love for the art itself. The duel of fists had become a meeting of minds. After more than an hour of conversation, the challenger stood up. He looked at Bruce, no longer with animosity, but with a newfound admiration. He bowed deeply, a traditional sign of utmost respect. He admitted that he had come with a closed mind, driven by ego and a fear of the unknown. He said that in their conversation, he had learned more than he would have from any physical fight. He acknowledged the depth of Bruce's philosophy and thanked him for the lesson, not in fighting, but in wisdom. He then turned to his own students and told them that today they had witnessed true mastery, not the mastery of breaking boards or winning fights, but the mastery of oneself. With that, he and his students bowed again and left the institute peacefully. No punches were thrown, no blood was shed, and no one lost face. But a victory had been won. After they left, Bruce's students were buzzing. They were amazed by what had just happened. Taiki Kimura approached Bruce and asked him why he didn't just fight the man. "I could have beaten him," he said. "We all know that." Bruce looked at his friend and explained, "Why should I fight him? If I beat him, he loses his reputation. His school suffers, and I gain nothing but another empty victory. His anger and resentment would only grow, and he would seek revenge. But by not fighting, we both won." He left with new knowledge and his honor intact. "I avoided a needless conflict and turned a potential enemy into someone who understands." The greatest victory, Bruce concluded, is the one that requires no battle. This story became a legendary lesson within his school. It perfectly encapsulated his belief that the ultimate aim of martial arts is not to hurt others, but to conquer the ego, anger, and fear within oneself. This philosophy is incredibly relevant for us today. We live in a world filled with conflict, from arguments on social media to disagreements in our personal and professional lives. Our first instinct is often to fight back, to prove we're right, to win the argument at any cost. But Bruce Lee teaches us a different way. He shows us that real strength lies in de-escalation, in empathy, and in understanding. It's about having the confidence to not engage in every battle you're invited to. It's the art of turning a confrontation into a conversation. Think about it. How many arguments could be avoided if we chose to listen instead of shout? How many relationships could be saved if we chose empathy over ego? Bruce's approach wasn't a sign of weakness. It was the ultimate sign of strength and control. It takes far more discipline to control your own emotions and ego than it does to lash out in anger. It's the difference between being a reactor and being a creator creating peace instead of reacting to conflict. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where conflict seems inevitable, remember the story of Bruce Lee and the tea ceremony. Ask yourself, is this a battle worth fighting? What would I truly gain by winning? Is there a way to turn this opponent into an ally, or at least into someone who understands my perspective? Can I, like Bruce, choose to be like water, flexible, adaptable, and powerful enough to overcome the obstacle without shattering it? The greatest victory isn't about defeating someone else, it's about mastering yourself. And that's a lesson from Bruce Lee that is far more powerful than any punch or kick. Thank you so much for watching and exploring this deeper side of Bruce Lee with me today. If this story resonated with you, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that inspire and challenge our way of thinking. See you in the next one.